Welcome back to the Analyst Desk, guys. We have made it after what was a very, very convincing Game 3, DJ. I got to hear a little bit of your own personal excitement on the cast, but why don't you run me down what stood out to you the most about that game?
Well, what I think stood out to me, Diaz, and I'm going to give you a lot of credit for this because I think you pull it up in draft, is I really like to be proven wrong as a caster, honestly, because it means that you're learning something about the game that you've missed something that the teams clearly haven't. Right, they are a step ahead of you, and it means you're going to pick something up. Unfortunately, in this game 3, you were dead right from the very beginning on that R4 pick because there was absolutely no answer to the Kog'Maw. It looked so disjointed from Glaive there, and it looked like their B4, B5 picks just didn't do anything to disrupt what Who Flashed That Fight wanted to do. So I honestly think this game was largely won in draft on that R4 pick, and it pretty much played out like that on the Rift as Who Flashed That Fight took tempo, they took an early Drake, and from that point on, it was just, okay, I guess we can just sit here and wait for our Kog'Maw to win us the game.
Yeah, it was a very odd sort of game plan from Glaive, and it translated into them not having autonomy, which is odd, especially in that third game, because we've seen them really take the fight to Who Flashed That Fight, oddly enough. In even game 1 and even game 2 when they were a little bit behind. I think that from very early on, though, we definitely got the recognition of that, and I was really impressed with the way that Who Flashed That Fight did actually take ownership over the Rift. It's not like they were left in this neutral scaling game where they were like, okay, well, we'll sit here and wait. They were actively making plays, and honestly, the thing that made me the happiest was to see all of the members be able to step up. There wasn't a weak side for Who Flashed That Fight. It was a full court press, and it's what we said about this team going into today.
Yeah, it is what we said, and it was a very nice game 1 from Glaive, but the bounce back from Who Flashed That Fight was excellent, right? They went off the back foot with a front-to-back team fight. They said, okay, you guys took the engage, you picked us off. Nah, it's our turn. We're going to give Donut Maker an assassin. We're going to give him some agency. He takes over game 2. Game 3, they do the same thing. They have agency. They get some comfort. They get Donut Maker back on that assassin. They get Stingus on a very strong carry, and they honestly just roll it over. So I really like the response here from Who Flashed That Fight, and they do secure what I really think they were hoping for here today, a little bit of revenge from the end of last season. It's early, but I'm interested to see what they have to say about it.
Yeah, it bites, and I like your illusion there, because we got a little treat for all of you viewers at home. We have an interview lined up for you with the one and only Stingus himself, so I'm going to let you and Necrox take this one away. Have fun out there.
Thank you so much, D. It was a pleasure having you here back in the Heavy League. It feels like your rightful spot, my friend. But now we have someone else that I'm hoping to become friends with. I play a little bit of AD carry myself, but it looks nothing like that. Stingus should be joining us pretty soon here for an interview. Man, oh man, what a game 3, but just what a whole series from him in its entirety.
2 games for much of them. Game 3, not so much, but I do believe the man has joined us here. Stingus, welcome to the Game 1 interview, and we just got to ask right off the bat, how does it feel, man?
Really good. We were really looking forward to playing them, and it was nice to get the win. We were expecting a 3-0, so it's a little disappointing, but we'll take it.
Expecting a 3-0 against the returning champions? Well, at least the organization, it's a whole debacle. You won't want to get into it. That's pretty hefty expectations. Is that what you feel for the rest of the split, or is that just for this matchup in particular?
There are a couple really good teams this split, it looks like. Like Lemon looks pretty good. I think Sparta looks pretty good. And there was another 1-2 teams, I don't remember their names, that look pretty good. But this Glaive roster does not look very good. They did nothing productive at all in all 3 games. It's exactly like the last Glaive roster. They kind of just don't do anything.
Ooh, interesting claim about the last Glaive roster, Mr. Stingus, after what happened in the finals to you guys last season. I know this is a very different roster for you, though. One more of your own construction here with new players in Baka in the jungle, in Donut Maker, the mid laner. And speaking of Donut Maker, what a performance from him in game number 2 and 3 after a bit of a rough one in game 1 in Oriana. I mean, maybe just a little taken aback by the fact that a composition like Nocturne and Galio can just kind of pick you off for small missteps that you might get away with normally. So sort of what was the change? Maybe what was some of the communication, and where did those engages in game 2 come from? Those were insane.
Yeah. The Nocturne definitely really messed up our comms. We've only had like 1 day of practice, so we weren't super practiced on like communicating in fights and like communicating our rotations and stuff. So we just decided to take Nocturne off because it was just destroying what we're able to do. And then once that was gone, it was just really easy to win because they weren't really doing anything. They were just fishing with Nocturnal when they knew they had vision, and then that was the only play they made that entire game. And then game 2, we were just setting up flanks because we had the Shurelias on our support. So as long as someone's behind, we can just speed in, and then we pinch them really, really fast.
Yeah, and the formula seemed to work out. I mean, obviously you guys did drop a game, so maybe you can answer this next question from within the series, or since you guys have begun practicing. And it comes from Dia, who is not here to conduct the interview. What is the largest adaptation that you have had to make as a team together?
We're still figuring out how we want to play together. I think today really helped us figure that out. I have a pretty good idea on how to draft for us in the future, and we just need to keep practicing it now and figure out what our holes are and how to fix them. Right now, our biggest problem is just communication. We've only played together like 2 times. One time was the clash against Wyo, which was pretty fun, and then we had 1 practice day last week, which was nice. So we're looking forward to getting in some good practice, figuring out what we need to do, and yeah, it should be pretty good.
Hey, you did get that shout out from Izo, the Proving Grounds player, there for your name during Clash. So props to that one. That was a nice little interaction on Twitter. But speaking of draft here, Stigus, I know that's typically something you like to focus on. We were kind of talking about it here on the analyst desk, but I got to ask you, did you think that you won game 3 in draft when you picked Kog'Maw?
Yeah, they didn't have any way to get on me at that point. I was expecting them to pick Camille, because then they would have at least one way to get on me. But they went for Mundo for some reason.
That's what Dio wanted. That's what Dio was saying in chat.
Yeah,
man.
The correct answer there was like Camille or something else that could like flank for the Galio. But then they just went with Mundo, and they wanted to walk at Kog'Maw, which is like the worst thing you could do. I don't know, just all their drafts. They had like a very specific niche they wanted to do, but the niche just didn't really make sense. In game 2, their draft countered ours pretty hard, but they just kind of played really bad.
Yeah, I think if you were listening in between games, which of course you can't, Dia literally said if the enemy team could have picked Camille instead of any like combination, it would have been
Camille Karma.
No, yeah, Dia literally went so far as to go Camille is even better. You could just take one Camille to be fine. But regardless, I appreciate it. Yeah, honestly, my last question for you, Stang, is a little bit future forward. Going into the rest of the split, obviously you told me that LB Lemons is a pretty strong team you're looking forward to going up against. What are your expectations for the split? Is it to be the number 1 team? Are you guys just trying to push your way into playoffs and then see how it goes from there? Obviously, maybe last split was a little disappointing for you guys. Are you expecting to take the crown back?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm pretty sure we have a pretty good matchup into most of the teams. We definitely need to practice though. It's very clear. Watching our games today, we were pretty shaky. We really need to clean up a lot, but we have the players, we have the comms, we have the knowledge. We just need to put it together, and it should be pretty reasonable to win.
Awesome. Well, like to hear the confidence and that the turnaround from game 1 to game 2, 3 looked really, really good. So I am excited to see what this roster can do. I have high hopes for you guys throughout the season. and look for another deep run into the playoffs and maybe even a return to the throne here for the spiritual successor potentially for VVO. But congratulations on the win here today, Stingus, and look forward to having you guys potentially on the interview more as the season does go on.
Any final shout outs?
Appreciate it.
Anything you want to say to the fans or even haters watching?
Yeah, absolutely. For the VBO guys that showed up, I really appreciate you guys. This is pretty much the college roster I coach with me added and the mid laner added. So WMU is always there for us. They always come and support. My friends from my Discord are here. Always love y'all. And just everyone that was here cheering for us. We really appreciate it. We're going to put on a show this year. There's going to be a show.
I love it. Thank you so much, Stingus, for the interview. It's always a pleasure, my friend. And maybe sometime you can teach me how to play AD carry like that because it just looks so
stop
broken.
asking everyone to teach you how to play
Hey,
AD
man,
carry. You
I'm hard stuck. I need it.
And now Stingus. They don't even play the same way.
My league
none of
status
them
is
taught
always
me.
DM me for coaching. Just let me know.
Perfect. I got it. I'll be in your DMs soon, Stingus. Thank you so much. I'll see you soon, my friend, I'm sure. But from everyone here on the Excellency production crew, we appreciate you all so much for tuning in, and especially Stingus for coming in for the interview. DJ, what a split we have ahead of us, my friend. It's just going to be incredible to watch as we send it out for the evening.
Yeah, I think so. We've got a lot to look forward to here. A lot of good teams that will have some stuff to prove tonight after a couple of FFs as well. But keep your eyes tuned to Heavy League. I think we are in for one of the most competitive splits we have ever seen.
And of course, keep your eyes peeled for the rest of the Excellency content that is always headed your way. Tuesday light, Wednesday mid, and of course Thursday nights. You can see my beautiful face here on Heavy. The rest of the week, though, we always have stuff for you. Make sure to keep your eyes peeled to the Discord as well. We always have announcements and media drops for you there. But until then, we'll see you in the post show. If it does happen, I have no clue, but that's not important. I'll see you next time we go live. And until then, have a good night and stay safe.